it's time for my construction. Let's discuss the WBS or word breakdown structure. This one will actually discuss a specific WBS for highway project. We will discuss the concept of what is WBS, what does it mean, what it is in major details. Then it's gonna be implemented and discussed according to a highway project specifically. What is WBS? It's a work breakdown structure. It's a crucial tool for project management, breaking down complex projects into manageable components. This WBS outlines the key elements of a highway construction project, providing a comprehensive overview of the tasks and process involved. Project management. This is the first component or major component in WBS. Uh, it's actually divided into a few minor pieces. For example, project initiation, project planning, project execution, monitoring and control, project closeout. All of these five components are part of project management, and project management is part of WBS. Second part of WBS is engineering design. Here, this like subtitles components mentioned here are for the highway project specifically. They are almost the same as any other projects, but when you go further in details, it's gonna be different. For example, geotechnical surveys and soil testing. It's actually for used for most projects, all of them mostly, especially if it's construction. You might just not need them in a renovation project or decoration project. These things, you will not need these things. But if it's a construction from scratch, you have to use geotechnical surveys and soil testing. Then topographic surveys, also needed for most and all construction projects. Detailed road design. This one is, of course, is only specifically used for the highway. As you go further in details for this one, for example, you need an alignment design, vertical and horizontal, pavement design, drainage design, safety and traffic control design. These things are like subtitles from a subtitle from a major component inside the WBS. You see here, when you go to the like major component, for example, engineering design, this one is used for all WBS. Unless the project is stated not to have a design stage, but mostly any construction project, of course, needs a design stage. When you go further in details for these examples, it's gonna be different. This is where you start to consider that this project has its own needs, because every project is unique. Also, mostly you have a few common things. Like mostly these big titles are needed, most projects. But when you go further in details, when you go further in a specified project, for example, detailed road design, this is only for the highway project. Further in details, these things are components that are only mentioned in highway projects. Further, utility relocation plans and environmental impact assessment. Of course, these things are needed in most projects, but environmental impact assessment, this title is needed for all projects. But as you go through the regulations of the environmental impact assessment, the EIA, it's actually needed, like for example, in most projects, but the regulations are different. Regulations for the environmental assessment for a building is different than the one used for a highway design project or construction project, because the impact of the environmental in a highway project is different than the building. In a highway, you have these vehicles and cars moving all day. It's gonna have a major impact on the environment in terms of car fuel, car disposals, car gases. But buildings, mostly they have a different issue with the environment. Design approvals and permits. you need them in all projects also, but as you go further in the details here and subtitles and sub-details, it's gonna be different. Every project is gonna be different. Detailed construction drawings. Of course, it's needed in like almost all the projects, unless stated otherwise. But as you go in further details, it's gonna be different, and of course the drawings are different, and it's very very unique between each project. The third one of the WBS major element is procurement. As we know, the construction industry, it's an industry based on revenue, and it actually has a complex of like sequence of events and tasks. If you don't have a strong understanding of the pricing and the procurement, then you will not gain the revenue that you want. Not mentioning that you might actually be losing. That's why procurement is very important in construction industry, to be understood, to be processed correctly, to be organized. When you divide the procurement into like subtitles, it's gonna be easier for you to organize, understand, make sure that you are not missing any detail. The major component of the procurement are like material procurement, equipment procurement, subcontractor selection, procurement of temporary facilities. Here, if you are discussing the material procurement for this specific highway project, you will start with asphalt material, aggregates and base materials, reinforcement steel, concrete for bridge structure if applicable, road signs and safety equipments. These are the most like 99% of the materials that are used in any highway projects, unless needed otherwise. But if we are just discussing a common highway project, these are the most needed materials. Equipment procurement in the highway projects are like excavators and earth moving equipment, compaction equipment, pavers and mixers, traffic control equipment. Of course, again, these are the most needed equipments in highway projects and commonly used along all highway projects unless stated otherwise. Subcontractor selections, it has two actually aspects, like the criteria of selection and the type of subcontractor. The criteria of selection, it's not gonna be different. It's like the most common way between all the projects, where you base your selection according to the technical background, financial, and according to reputation maybe sometimes, or maybe you have a partnership with a subcontractor. These are the same in all construction projects, but if you're like the most specific thing here in highway project, if you are basing your selection according to technical issue or technical side of work, because you will base your selection on a subcontractor that is actually experienced with highway projects and actually implementing highway projects, because actually subcontractor is a specialized contractor in a specific area of construction. Some of them can only supply and apply concrete, for example. They are not interested in a highway project. It's not even in their scope. It's even outside their trade license. Some subcontractors can be specialized in like painting, supply and apply, or actually supply and apply tiles. In this way, it's like highway is not their scope of work. It's different. Then you can't just base your selection on them. This is the only difference for highway projects in selecting a subcontractor. Procurement and temporary facilities, the offices and utilities. Commonly, it's like the same criteria between all projects. The minor differences are gonna be according maybe to the location, the acceleration in the site, and these things. Not exactly a major difference between any other project. In WBS, you have the fourth stage